So Chad Johnson says the Bengals disrespected T. Higgins by franchise tagging him yet again. And he had a very interesting comparison. He said the first year, all right, you tagged me. You want me to bet on myself. You can see if I can repeat and do it again. The second time you tag me, it's like when you like a girl, you're interested in her, and she puts you in the friend zone. I don't really value you long term, so I'm going to put you in the friend zone. At some point, sometime, it allows the Bengals to buy themselves some time to work out a deal. But if you wanted to work out a deal, you would have done it a long time ago. Here's what I'll say about the situation, right? It's like you want to date a girl, okay? And you're like, I really like this girl. But then she keeps talking to her ex-boyfriend. And you're like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. And she said, oh, no, he's just a friend. He's just a friend, right? And you go through the first year. And you're like, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it fly. But then second year, she starts talking a lot more to him. And get to a point now where she's not even talking to you sometimes. She's talking to him. And yes, I'm comparing injuries to ex-boyfriend, okay? Because that's the same thing. It's red flags, okay? It's red flags. That's really what I would look at when it comes to his comparison is the Bengals are looking at like, ooh, this guy has a lot of injury concerns. And he got hurt this amount of time the last 2 years. So do we really want to give him a contract now? Or should we wait to see if he gets more injured and then the price tag might go down drastically if he has a severe injury? Or we just don't sign him if he has a severe injury. I think a lot of the reasons why the Bengals didn't sign him or hasn't signed him yet to a contract is two reasons. One is because, well, actually 3 reasons, actually. One, it costs a lot of money. And the Bengals are cheaper. I'm not going to say they're cheap. I'm going to say they're cheaper when it comes to spending money. They don't like spending money that much. 2, injuries and more injuries. That's also a factor. Like, they don't want to commit because they don't know if he can play 4 seasons and how many games will he actually play in those 4 years. So that's number 2. They're red flags. They're kind of scared of that. And number 3, yeah, they're probably betting against him. They probably was thinking, and not hoping, nobody hopes for an injury, but they're probably saying, hey, if he continues down his injury path and he continues to have injuries, the price tag might go down eventually if his injury becomes something severe. If he tore an ACL, an MCL, a PCL, he has soft tissue issues, obviously, as we know about. If something like that becomes more severe, then they could sign him when he's in his recovery process and get him for a lot less money. Like, these are all things the Bengals are thinking about. Now, is it disrespectful to franchise tag him a second time? I don't think it's disrespectful. And hear me out. The reason why it's not disrespectful is it's business. Okay? At the end of the day, it's business. They want him. Okay? They want him. It's disrespectful if they expect him to play on the franchise tag. That's disrespectful. But the franchise tag him is just business. They want to have more time to work out a contract with him. So, does it hurt him because he's not hitting the open market and being able to get as much money as he can? Yes. But at the end of the day, he's made it very clear he wants to stay in Cincinnati. He changed his agent to the same agent as Jamar Chase. Like, I don't think it's disrespectful until they try to make him play on that tag this year. But I think that they just want more time to work out a contract. So, again, I think there's a lot. This contract situation, this situation with T is like an onion. The more layers you peel back, the crazier this situation gets. And this is not a situation that is just black and white like a lot of people try to make it out to be. A lot of people try to make this situation out to be like, oh, if you want him, like the song, if you want, you should put a ring on it, right? It's not that easy. This is not a black and white situation. This has so many different twists and turns. And one is, yes, Joe Burrow being happy or not. Obviously, you don't want to piss off Joe. But again, you have to look toward the future of your team, and spending a lot of money at the receiver position when receivers are a dime a dozen is not the smartest idea to do. I'm about to say a statement that is accurate, okay, but I don't agree with. We get on the front office for being idiots. But technically speaking, according to a lot of top NFL GMs, spending that much money on the receiver position would be considered idiotic when receivers are a dime a dozen and you can find them in the draft and free agency and actually usually be able to develop them into a pretty good unit. So we do get on the front office a lot for being stupid, but reality wise, it is, according to a lot of people, idiotic to spend that much money at the receiver position. Beside the point, I don't agree with that because I still look at it as like this. You want to keep Joe Burrow happy, and Joe Burrow wants both receivers. So you're going to give Joe what he wants. He's your franchise quarterback. But I'm just saying, I got to play devil's advocate. I'm going to butcher that word a billion times because that's just kind of how it is. Like, the smart situation here for the Bengals would not be keeping T. Higgins. That's a smart situation from a franchise standpoint. Too much money spent on receivers. You got to spend that money somewhere else, on defense, on the defensive line, offensive line, or something else. You can't bust with Jermaine Burton at receiver like that type of stuff. But again, we are in the situation we're in, right? So it is what it is at the end of the day. But I think it's disrespectful if you make him play on it. But before that, I think we have to kind of keep in mind that we need more time to work out a contract with him. And yes, we're spending more money and we're giving more money, to him than we would have if we just signed him 2 years ago. And I agree with that too. If we got him done 2 years ago in the Michael Pittman deal, then yeah, it would be $21 million a year pretty much, and we would be all happy. But at the end of the day, he would also be trying to probably get a new contract, and we'd be in the same situation right now, except he would want a extension and say, hey, I wouldn't be traded if I don't get a new contract. Like, a lot of people will say, if we signed him 2 years ago, we would have saved a lot of money. But reality-wise, probably not. Because he would have still wanted a new contract after 2 years because of this whole, he should be making more money. So it's like, just because a player gets on the contract doesn't mean they're going to play on that contract anymore. It used to mean they were going to play under that contract. But that's not a fact anymore. A player nowadays can sign a contract and refuse to play on it after a year. They can sign a contract. I mean, I love Trey. I do love Trey. But remember, Trey Hendrickson signed a contract, and then 8 months later, he wanted a brand new deal because he didn't like how much, he didn't like the job security of it. He agreed to that contract. He negotiated that contract. He signed that contract. 8 months later, he wanted a new contract. Just because a player signs a contract nowadays doesn't mean crap. They could sign a contract. You could feel like you just helped out the team friendly all day, baby. 2 days later, they could say, I don't like that contract anymore. Let's get a new one. You don't want a new one? Okay, then I want to be traded. Like, that's just how it works. So it's a different NFL than it used to be, okay? Players, not all players, but some players don't honor their contracts anymore. It is what it is. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.